Welcome to the course on Environmental Degradation of Materials and Surface Engineering. This course will be taught by myself, Jyotsna Datta Majumdar, and Professor Indranil Manna. It would be for 12 weeks duration and it would be from June to December 2022 session. This course actually has been divided into two parts. First part would be the environmental degradation of materials, and in this particular section different types of degradations of materials in terms of chemical, mechanical as well as thermal degradations would be discussed about. And it is very important that the kind of degradation occurs is known to us, because whenever you talk about degradation depends on the environmental variables like temperature, pressure and humidity content in the environment, as well as the species which is there in the environment and the kind of materials you are talking about. So, different types of materials degrade in different fashions. So, it also depends on the kind of interactions that is occurring between materials and environment, and this degradation can lead to failure as well as different kinds of accidents in nature. Particular you will find different different bridges collapsed, and due to this particular kind of degradation there may be that accident in the chemical and petrochemical plants, and also different types of mechanical interactions are also there. So, it is very important to know what is the reason behind the failure and whether the failure initiates at the surface and whether it is due to the interactions with the environment, what is the driving force for such degradation and what is the kinetics for such degradation, and how do you know the kind of degradation, what is the characteristics, what are the characteristics of them, and how can you finally control the degradations by changing the environment, materials, surface treatment and by other ways, and different surface engineering techniques for repairing of the degraded surface and also tailoring the surface for prevention of the degradation. So, this course has been divided into two parts. First part is the environmental degradation, which will be for 6 weeks duration, where briefly the different types of degradation would be discussed, the approaches for mitigation and prevention of the surface initiated degradation would be discussed, and also the characterization and testing of the degraded surface would be discussed. With this brief introduction, I would like to invite Professor Manna to say about different surface treatment techniques and also his course content. Thank you very much.
We often hear that prevention is better than cure. So, surface engineering basically does that kind of a prevention. What exactly inoculation or vaccination that does to human beings or any other living organisms. So, when we look at any engineering system, particularly maybe a component or a machine subjected to the real time applications, the system often and always rather encounters variations in terms of environmental interaction, be it in terms of temperature, pressure or various other interactions, presence of aggressive ions and so on. Imagine an automobile. You would never imagine an automobile without the paint, or for that matter any component which is exposed to high temperature. We often see that it develops rusts or various other forms of degraded surfaces. So, before the component actually undergoes that degradation, be it in the form of corrosion product, oxidation product or various mechanical interaction, there are various means and ways available by which you actually can strengthen the surface by way of either changing the surface energy, surface condition, develop certain coatings or develop certain preventive layers. You may even carry out certain thermomechanical treatments to tailor the microstructure and even add certain elements to change the composition. So, let us always remind ourselves that the surface undergoes the maximum amount of interaction with the environment, and hence the intensity of stress and environmental attack is always the maximum on the surface. So, in many cases we would rather modify the surface microstructure and composition, or both, either or both, or we may resort to certain exercises which will actually improve the surface microstructure or composition, and as a result of which the component life gets extended. So in order to improve the reliability and life of the component, we resort to changing the surface condition, namely the surface energy, surface topography, surface topology, and in effect, we extend the life of the component. So that is surface engineering. So in this particular course, we'll talk about various forms of mechanically driven or chemically driven, or using certain directed energy beams, and various other ways and means available to improve the surface microstructure and composition as a measure of prevention to surface degradation and failure. Thank you.